think on this. We're talking about a very serious topic tonight, and that's one of addiction. Addiction is such a hard topic to deal with because it's everybody's dirty little secret. We've all been there. We've had those drives, those things that seem to just keep pulling us forward into stuff and unhealthy relationships, unhealthy situations, and it's like, what in the world is going on? Why can't I break free? I know it's not good for me. I know it's not healthy for me, but I love it. And we really don't love it, but we hate it, but we kind of love it, and we don't want to love it, but we know we love it, even though we kind of hate it, but that's what addiction does. It twists us up and entangles us in this web of this shameful secret that we hold on to. But if we're all honest, we've all had hurts, am I right? We've all had habits, and we've all had hang-ups. So when we talk about addiction, once again, it's like, who's been addicted? Well, because you don't want anybody to know. And the person right next to you doesn't want anybody to know. And the person behind you and in front of you, they don't want anybody to know. And yeah, your addiction may not be their addiction, but we all have addiction. So can we all be honest and say, hello, my name is fill in the blank. I have a problem. Where do these crazy things come from? They come from a dozen of different places. More addictions exist than I think we can identify. And I'm not talking about this Hollywood, I gave somebody the finger and the cop stopped me, so now I'm going to go to rehab, Mr. Officer. You know, every celebrity does that now. I cuss somebody out, but I'm going to rehab. I was naked, but I'm going to rehab. It's like rehab is in vogue now. Let's all go to rehab. But the reality is some of us, we really need rehab for some of the things that keep us bound. Now, what happens with this addiction thing? See, we, no matter what, have this pleasure center in our brain. And it releases something called dopamine. Everybody said dopamine. Dopamine is that high that we get when we do whatever we're attracted to. It's that release of, right there. Dopamine. But the tricky thing about addiction is it gets you this dopamine high in the initial. And then you can't get the same high the same way. So you got to go farther and farther and do more to get the same high. Why? Because your body's gotten used to that former high. So that other high that you used to get isn't good anymore. So I need a bigger high, and you got to keep ramping it up to get what you need. And the more you ramp it up, the more unhealthy you get in the worse situation you're in. Now, some of us, we can try to act like it's not hurting anybody else. But anybody who's been a child of an addict can tell you it affects people around you. Is anybody with me? Addiction affects everybody around you, and to you it may feel like my dirty little secret, and if somebody comes near you, like, you attack them, I think you have a problem. I don't got a problem, you got a problem. You don't even know, you ain't even around me all the time, you don't know me, you don't know my name, you don't know my story. You just trying to judge me, that's what you're doing. You just judging me. Judge yourself first, don't be judging me. Look to yourself, you got your own issues. I saw you do that one thing that one time. Stop looking at me, rather than going, I got a problem. Is anybody with me? That's what addiction does. Now, I thought about this when I was thinking about different addictions some of us have. There's, a ton of them. And some of them are natural. Some addictions we have are things that we're supposed to like and enjoy, like sex. You in church and you said sex? Yes. You can't talk about sex in church. What can you talk about? But see, sex is natural. Sex is fun. I'm just saying, if it wasn't fun, everybody wouldn't be trying to do it. Look straight ahead. They won't know I'm talking about you. It is. It's enjoyable. What? Guess what? God made it to be enjoyable. God is brilliant. Some of y'all ain't never been to church and you want to worship the whole God. Hallelujah. For sex. Yes. You go Pentecostal, speaking in tongues. But sex is fun. Can we say that out loud? Sex is fun, especially if you're doing it right. I digress. But see, when we misappropriate sex and we put sex in its wrong context, we can grow this unhealthy addiction to it. And it starts to stick to us. Is it going to stick? I'll put it in my pocket. Because really, that's what we do with addictions. We try to hide them. Like nobody notices that big bulge. We try to hide them. Nobody will ever know, so I'm going to hide it. It started naturally, but it became unhealthy. Now, a baby that sex has is one that we know about now, and it's called porn. It used to be you had to go to the store and shamefully buy magazines to get porn. But I got Wi-Fi on my iPod, so I can pull up porn. Sex has a lot of babies. Porn is one of them, and it's one that gets people so addicted that when a good relationship comes along, you don't even know what to do with it. Why? Because you have your head filled with so much nonsense that normal sex between a man and a woman just doesn't fill your needs anymore. Why? Because your dopamine centers are trying to get that high again. That's what happens when we get sex wrong. Okay, now I'm going to try to put this. Yeah, okay, that fits. Maybe you won't notice that in there. Now, what's another one? Okay, those are things that are natural, but there are some things that just come along with life and time and choices we make, like alcohol. Now, alcohol is not in and of itself bad. A lot of the medicines you use are chock full of it. Some parents, they learned that a while back. And it was like, I'm not sick. Why are you giving me cough medicine? It's just bedtime. But many of us choose to drink alcohol. And I don't know about you, but I had an alcoholic grandfather. And science tells us when you have a parent that has an addiction, you're prone to have an addiction. So I, as a church leader, have decided I'm not going to drink. Period. Why? Because I don't want to go down that dark road. Because Grandpa Willie might show up. And I might not be able to let it go. If I'm honest, I stopped drinking before I was 16. Some of y'all, now you know. I stopped at 16 because I was beginning to grow a habit. Now, see, it's nothing wrong with having an occasional drink. I said here, leaders don't drink. But it's nothing wrong with having an occasional drink. But when you first drank, it was like, ooh, that was an experience. And I just drank at parties.